coming out with this good content. Yo, y'all know how much we reacted to these Chris Hansen NBC News videos. All right. How to catch a predator. Listen, these folks is crazy and weird. All right. Nothing will be able to take away what these folks do and how they live. All right. But we're going to watch this, man. Road to 1,000. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. Where are the Chris Hansen predators today?
This video will cover exactly what happened to the 6 most notable creeps from Hansen vs. Predator, and we're going to begin by talking about the math tutor Mike Manzi, who's had his life pretty much ruined.
Y'all remember him? We watched him.
No, you're not episode.
Yep, we watched him.
Arriving at the sting,
Nugget head
bumped into Chris immediately before trying to make the excuse that he was simply making sure that 13-year-old
Nugget
was
head
safe inside her house. After desperately attempting to leave, Mike was arrested, taken back to the police station, and interrogated for approximately 35 minutes, after which the episode ends with the explanation that because Mike's discussion was pretty clean prior to the meetup, he was only sentenced to 3 years probation, meaning that he avoided any time in prison and wasn't registered on any unsavory lists. However, this isn't to say that Mike's life has been easy ever since the episode went live. In late 2021, a conversation was leaked with one of the show's editors, who explained that the head of security, Ron Knight, was actually Mike Manzi's uncle, and that there is a part aired where Manzi is insisting to Knight to let him go because he's known Manzi since birth.
Wow. You want to talk about politics? You want to talk about politics, y'all? Yo. If y'all hear me smacking throughout the duration of this video, just know I get it. I love you guys, but y'all don't be saying nothing when these chicks be coming on stream doing ASMRs, licking the mic and licking their fingers and tapping their nails on goddamn. Come on, bro. All right. But, wow. Favoritism and politics at its finest.
This is apparently why Manzi made such an effort to convince the crew to let him leave peacefully, yet his uncle told Manzi the best thing he could do is go through the garage and remain silent, which Manzi obviously didn't do. As a result of the episode, Mike now hates his uncle, which has more than likely led to the decline of Manzi's other family relationships.
When he tried to help you.
The most interesting thing revealed in the message exchange was that Manzi was an avid watcher of TCAP back in the day, which explains why he recognized Chris Hansen immediately. Mike has since been found on a felony dating site, as well as on Facebook.
You're a weirdo, bro.
Name, where a Reddit user was able to get this picture, as well as apparently have a conversation with Mike, who stated that he gets recognized very often, and that Mike actually seems like a very chilled out dude. On Chris Hansen's podcast, Chris explained that Mike is
got a podcast now?
Education.
As far as we know, he is not tutoring or teaching anywhere. He lives with his parents,
which would explain 2 recently surfaced photos of Mike working in a retail job, representing a pretty significant fall since tutoring for some of Connecticut's wealthiest families. However, Mike still got off lightly in comparison with John Dupee, who, as a result of his appearance on the show, has now become homeless.
Did we see him? Former mail carrier. I think we seen him too.
John waltzed into the Sting house without saying a word and was so creepy that simply
he was trying to get a hug.
Terrified the decoy.
Yet
she
I remember.
Had nothing to worry about, as he stated that he was only there to watch the football. After revealing that John was simultaneously talking to more than one minor, he was arrested, interrogated, and given a notice to appear in court, where he'd be trolled and heckled by the attendees as he pleaded guilty.
That's right.
The judge actually in the case had to order the crowd to be quiet, to be orderly, because they had figured out who he was and what he was being accused of, what he was pleading guilty to.
John Dupee was given an 8-year prison sentence beginning in August 2016, although this certainly isn't where the story ends. Only 4 months into his prison term, John's brother...
Hey, one thing about Reddit be going crazy. Make sure y'all join the Reddit, link in the description. But Reddit be having all the news, all the tea, all the drama, all the info, all the insight. I ain't bullshitting. Reddit have everything you can think of, bro. For real. Like, it's like Reddit is a 24-hour surveillance camera around the world. Like, who really run Reddit, you know?
and sister were both killed in a car accident, which happened on the very same street where the Sting house was located. And in case losing both of his siblings wasn't bad enough, there are unconfirmed anecdotes that John was also disowned by his parents after the episode went live.
Ooh.
He was released from prison on the 24th of July 2018, serving just 2 years out of his 8-year sentence. Yet after being released, John was forced to register on a public offender list, which displayed his address as a Connecticut homeless shelter. After 3 years in the shelter, John was able to move into a group house, although in October 2021, only 2 months after moving out of the homeless shelter, John violated his probation in an unspecified way and was sent back to prison for another year and 2 months. Since his release in December 2022, John has been residing in a shelter for recovering addicts, although John Dupee isn't the only person on this list who's been back to prison, as Joshua Colon also recently violated his probation.
We ain't see him.
Joshua was the New York plumber who locked the door behind him after entering the Sting house, stating that his biggest nightmare was ending up on a Chris Hansen episode. After Josh comes out of the bathroom, Chris is already there waiting for him.
You're so dumb.
You know who I am.
Yes.
And as a result, Josh is unbelievably
I haven't seen him before.
laying out his intentions
When you see
immediately. After being taken back to the station, he'd incredibly admit that this wasn't the first time that he'd met up with someone underage, which eventually helped the court to secure a 7-year prison sentence.
Because if that's not the first time you linked up with a minor, that wasn't the first time that you actually did something and went through doing something with a minor. Ew, bro. That makes my stomach turn. Oh, that makes my stomach turn, bro. How could you even go through? You are a grown ass man. How could you even go through mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally, spiritually? Well, some of these, they're just dead spirits. But bro, how could you even do that? Oh my god, dog.
After the sting happened, but before Josh went to prison, he was still working as a plumber and would admit to a co-worker that he was very remorseful and would happily take back his crazy Russian ex, then go back to that house with Chris Hansen. On his really bad days, he would talk about how he doesn't want to die alone and that he knows that he'll never have a semblance of a normal life again.
Yeah.
Josh was sent to prison a few months
Glad you know, buddy.
in 2016 and would serve 3 years out of his 7-year sentence. However, this wouldn't be the last time that Josh ended up behind bars.
Of course!
In September 2020, approximately 1 year after being released from his first prison stint, a post was made to the TCAP forum stating, Joshua Colon was convicted yesterday after spending a few months in prison for a probation violation.
That dude watch
4 years
baddies.
jail, execution suspended after 6 months.
On kick and hot tub streams.
This guy will never learn. Josh's second prison term came to an end in March 2021.
Nah,
after
look
his
though.
former co-worker and friend took
Hold on,
to
hold on.
explain the reason for the sentence.
Nah. Look though. He definitely does have the face of somebody who is with his shirt off on Omegle or Omi TV waiting for a little girl. No cap.
21, after which his former co-worker friend took to Reddit to explain the reason for the
Reddit got
He contacted
everything.
me after he got out of prison for a second time, letting me know that he'd been framed. Apparently he wasn't allowed to have any pictures of any children on his phone. His sister shared a picture of his niece in a chat that he was in, and he got locked up for it.
He's
His
stupid.
explanation. Interestingly, if you now search Josh's name on an inmate search engine, it states that Joshua Colon is or was recently an inmate currently at the Connecticut Department of Corrections, CTDOC, located in Wethersford, CT, leading many to believe that Josh is now back in prison for a third time. But what happened to the wealthy accountant who Chris recognized from the
Yep, I remember
His
him.
name was
Remember him,
Charles
y'all?
Burns, and after
Little
walking into
freak
the
with a
Sting
wife.
house, the following exchange occurred.
No, Chris.
My bad, y'all. I know y'all be saying, yo, if you're gonna talk, pause the video, JB. Pause the video. If you're gonna talk, pause the... My bad, y'all. I just be one, you know what I'm saying? My thoughts be moving a little too fast, so I gotta talk with the guy. But look. Imagine how far your heart has to be in your nuts. Whenever you see somebody that you meet, grew up with, went to high school with, middle school with, was raised with, catching you doing some real freak nasty shit. Well, don't imagine that, okay, at home. Do not imagine that. But I'm saying, hey, he should get the most time. He should have gotten the most time. But he did have the most money.
are you doing? But this is the first time I've caught anyone who I know.
After which Charles was arrested and taken back to the station for an interview. Throughout the interrogation, Charles made the hilarious claim that, because of his poor eyesight, he read the decoy's age as 18 instead of 13.
Every time he was 18, my eye got scratched and my glasses were upstairs. I'm looking, I thought he said 18. I swear to God, I would never, ever in my entire life either.
How powerful is God then, huh? He swear to God. What's the sentence, bro? This is
However,
disgusting.
the judge wasn't dumb enough to buy this excuse, who sentenced Lawrence to 2 years in prison.
What?
Between June 2000.
Pathetic.
2016 and June 2018. Whilst in prison, the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, under which Lawrence was employed, confirmed that Mr.
Bro,
Lawrence's...
I don't get that, man. These folks is 50, 60, some was 70. Doing this crap, bro. Let's be real. Besides their retirement plan and their 401k, what else do they have to provide to society? Besides being an old fart wanting to mess with little boys and little girls. If they were a little younger, I mean, then that would be a little different. Maybe like, 30, 25, 26. That would be different. Give them 2 years, 3, whatever. But 50s, 60s, dude. If I was for president, if I was running for president, I'd make sure in the big, bold print, if you are over the age of 55, and I'm being nice to y'all, 55, I would say 50, 55 to 58, and you do some any weird activities with a minor, underage girls, underage dudes, you're getting the book, the whole entire book.
AICP.
You're done. You're finished.
Effective May 20.
Make sure your kids, your wife, your freaky ass, weird ass wife, she know your password to your shit. All right, make sure she knows that. But besides that, bro, she ain't getting 401k is gone. All that retirement plan money gone. Your real estate investments gone. You better make sure because that legacy is getting shot down. You are a freak.
25th, 2017, because
I
of
am
the judgment of conviction for a crime punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year. Chris also mentioned that Charles had a second job as a commercial real estate agent, and after finding Charles's LinkedIn, it states that he's the president of a company called Lawrence Real Estate
What I told y'all,
Inc., which is still active today and lists Charles as the company's CEO. However, Chris did mention on his podcast that Charles had some issues with keeping his license.
I'm not clear as to whether or not he's still involved in commercial real estate. There was an issue with his license after his conviction, after he pleaded guilty.
Although even if he was able to, it's unlikely that Charles would get much work these days given his reputation. In May 2021, a post was made to Reddit explaining that they saw Charles Lawrence living in an over 55s complex, which has been confirmed as true after looking up the address listed on his public offender registry.
They know everything. Yo, look, peep game, y'all. He is 66. You're getting the book, G. You're done. You're finished. You have nothing else to live for besides your real estate properties. Nothing. Give the passwords. Give all of your codes, social security to your kids, to your wife. You're done, G. You're weird. Because you think you could do it over and over again because you didn't get reprimanded when you were younger. So you are 66? Oh my goodness. You're done. You're finished.
Shows the most recent photo of him taken in mid-2018, exhausting all of the information that we have on Charles Lawrence. However, we've got plenty of dirt on the now infamous Stephen Buchanan, who gained notoriety for showing up in a Sting house with duct tape, a camera, and various weapons in his car. This was extra terrifying as
what the hell are you into, you freak? See, these kinks are getting so weird, and we are now in 2023, but these kinks are getting weirder and weirder by the years, bro. Nah, scratch that. By the months. I don't think. No. We seen him. I remember. We seen him.
House, he
we seen him
to enter and rather try to coax the decoy into getting into his vehicle.
Right.
You want to come in?
You want to go?
Can you just come in and we can chat for a little bit? What do you want to do?
Look at his face. G. Bro. Dog. Nope. Yeah, trust in that.
You gonna show you around?
Like watch a movie?
What about going to the movie?
After being confronted by Chris, Buchanan tries to blame his depravity on the PTSD he got during his military time in Iraq. Although despite this impediment, Buchanan still served 3 years in prison, after which fans of the show began to notice that the story he shared with Chris wasn't entirely accurate.
Of course it wasn't.
The name of Bud1985 took to Reddit in a post reading, Stephen Buchanan. This took me a good hour of searching through old pics from Iraq, but I finally found it. I served with his turd. Bud continued in the comments by stating, when he was active duty, he was a tank mechanic. And how do I know this? He was my tanks mechanic. He would do maintenance on it in the motor pool every Monday. He never went on a single mission. He never been through some water fire, but that's it. It pissed me off so bad when I heard him blame it on PTSD.
Y'all want to take accountability for the worst things, bro. Bro, you don't live that life. You didn't live that life. I got so much trauma from being in the hood, from being around gangbangers and drug dealers. Bro, you are from the nicest part of Michigan. You are from the nicest part of Florida. What are you talking about? And Bud, 1985, probably went through the most shit. He probably went through the most of the most. Wow, man,
The most recent photo of Stephen Buchanan comes from July 2022,
Like the
which
Muppet
accompanies
Man.
a further update from Chris Hansen's podcast.
And as far as we can tell, he still lives in Connecticut with his parents. And he's working, driving a large truck.
Also explaining that he was able to have a conversation with Stephen's father.
That is
I called the
TBO.
number we had for Stephen Buchanan, and a man picked up, and it actually sounded a little bit like Stephen Buchanan. And I asked for Stephen. Right away, the man said, "Is this Chris Hansen?" And I said, "Yes, it is." So why are you calling? I said, "I'm calling for Stephen Buchanan." And the father had the tone of a man exasperated with having to deal with the circumstances around his
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
Stephen has moved on with his life.
Because, stop. Because you know why? As a father, you raised, or even better, you didn't raise this. So this is your lack of, your failure to rise to the occasion with your son, with your offspring. You failed tremendously bad. And now they're 40-something, thinking that it was good to put in the military right after high school because they wasn't going to do shit else. And you can get a little bit relaxation time. You and your wife, you and your girl, whatever the case. Bro, that was the worst thing for him. That was the worst thing for him, bro. He could have done so much different things creatively. So many different things in the world, but you just chose to put him in the military. And if he chose to do that, that's an even more shit on the dad. Even more. You allowed your son to think in this little box and not everything else that you could do in the world. Just go to the military, go to the army if you're not getting a job at Walgreens, at Walmart. Nah. You know? That's rough, dude. That's so rough. See, y'all, we don't want to admit it, but a lot of these parents out here, especially ours, trash. Terrible parents. Terrible. And it's not about knowing what you're doing as a parent. It's about listening. It's about being open. It's about listening to your children. Listen to your child. You have to study your child. Don't be, completely engulfed and obsessed to the point where you don't let them live life, but you need to study your child. Study their friends. What they be watching on the phone, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Kick. What they be watching. What interests them. They don't know. They don't know. These parents, we want to live through the children. So it messes up the child's opportunity to actually live. So when they get 18 or they get in college, they act a whole fool. Whole fool. But not the story though. Whole fool.
wants to only look forward, and then the senior Buchanan asks that I never call the number again.
But while Stephen has done a pretty good job of moving on with his life, this has been significantly more difficult for Jeff Sokol, who became arguably the most notable predator in Chris Hansen history after bringing a pepperoni pizza to the Fairfield Stinghouse.
Remember him?
The iconic episode became etched in YouTube history, as Jeff seemed so relaxed about the confrontation that he was only able to focus on his dinner.
I want to know a little bit more about you first. Can I eat first?
After Jeff spent 16 minutes
Can I eat first? He said.
pizza, he'd offer Chris a slice on the way out.
You can take your pizza if you like.
You want a slice?
I'm good, thank you.
And even after being taken back to the station, Jeff maintained the attitude that he hadn't done anything wrong.
Because look, he did it so many times. He did it so many times, it's now regular for him. Man, Jeff, you a punk, dog.
According to a source who was at the station with him.
He kept his cool. He was pretty confident that he was going to be able to get out of this. Be able to get a good lawyer and really take care of his case.
While Jeff seemed confident that he wouldn't receive any charges, this didn't alter his reality, as after going through 3 different lawyers, he'd be sentenced to 2.5 years in prison beginning on the 27th of May 2017.
That's not good
Once
enough.
locked up, the Jeff Sokol episode became
That's not good
so
enough.
popular that fans of the show tracked down the restaurant from which the pizza.
Wait, hold on. Wait. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm saying that's not good enough, but I'm putting it like this in my brain. The world and the society that we live in now, everything else like Reddit, Twitter, the groups, is going to take care of itself. So it's almost like let's take EDP for example, right, y'all? Did he go to jail? Did EDP go to jail? Let me know in the comments if you actually went to jail. I don't remember. But his life after he did what he did was worse. You could tell. He wanted to act. I've seen a couple videos of him going around. He still be on TikTok live, smiling. 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people be up in there. Asking about the cupcake. Asking about little girls. And he just plays it cool. He just act like nothing's wrong. You know? So I can see why they do the 2-year sentence, 3-year sentence, 2.5 joint. I can see that.
Had been ordered and began to visit the restaurant asking for the exact same pizza that Jeff had gotten. The restaurant has since had hundreds of positive reviews, many of which subtly referencing the Jeff Sokol incident, and according to an email sent to us by a fan, the restaurant had to eventually ask people to stop asking for the Sokol special, although there doesn't actually seem to be any evidence for this claim. By the time Jeff was released from prison in June 2019, his appearance on the show had racked up a view count in the tens of millions, leading Jeff to try and change his name legally to
Wow!
Sokol actually went to court and petitioned to change his name to Sonny Derek Porter.
A few years ago, I was arrested as a part of a sting operation trying to meet a girl who was underage. The sting was part of a nationally syndicated TV show, Crime Watch Daily, Hansen vs. Predator. This episode is now available online, along with many other troll videos and nasty comments from fans of the show. In the aftermath, I've experienced humiliation, harassment, and embarrassment. One could argue that this was justified, but I've surely lived with much remorse since the arrest.
Right,
Since my current name will always be linked via a simple internet search, I'm requesting authorization to change my name. I'm working hard to be a better person overall and making a sincere effort to treat everyone with respect. I hope to meet new friends and acquaintances and wish not to be judged based on one gigantic mistake I made a few years ago. I hope to be judged for the person I really am, the person I am today. More than anything, I would like a second chance at a happy and safe life. However, the name change was eventually rejected, which only led to more trolling.
Who believes that? Who can really believe that?
It was then discovered that Jeff had been forced to sell his apartment, and according to this Reddit comment, which isn't the best evidence, Jeff moved in with his parents in blank. It seems like he comes from a pretty affluent family, so he probably just mooches from his parents and stays low-key.
Yep.
The most recent photo of him comes from early 2021, which unfortunately marks the final piece of information we have on Jeff Sokol, because despite being one of the show's most notable people, he certainly kept one of the lowest profiles.
Wow. 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 Catch y'all on the next one, man. Road to 1,000. Love y'all.